with that loan, you plan, Jeremy has talked to Bun?
I took that out. The proof of current status with the utilities and that the utilities have been disconnected would be a condition that had to be met for the city to start. Obviously, the disconnection of utilities especially, because that poses a danger. And then if the city would, the escrow agent, which is our firm's trust account, would pay the city weekly based on verification that they had worked for the week prior. In addition, if the city's going to obtain the containers, then we would need invoices from them for whatever that charge is, and then we would be authorized as the escrow agent to pay that. Once the work is done, once the bills have been paid with regard to the containers and disposal, then, you know, Mr. Koss, you would need to make sure that if there's any final bills owed to utilities, that those have been paid. If not, those will get paid out of the escrowed funds. And at that point, whatever remains would come back to you. We'll arrange for the delivery of empty containers and removal of filled containers as needed. We're responsible for workman comp. Any costs related to the hauling, obviously, is your responsibility, Mr. Koss, and that will be taken care of out of the escrowed funds. And then the rest of it's just general language that you'd find in most contracts. So those are the substantive provisions.
One question. Are we removing everything or just the trailers that have already been demoed, or what are we doing?
All the trailers, all the sheds. There's a concrete block building there, and we should leave that.
What about you?
A small one.
Still a few tenants in there, Nick?
Yes, I'm filing evictions for them tomorrow morning. We gave them some extra time to leave, but they don't seem to be going anywhere, and the water bill is running. And they've all stopped paying.
Yeah.
I got 6, 7 left. I did a count a couple of days ago.
6 or 7? Wow. Wow. Okay.
As for the roll-off boxes, I talked with Barton Bunn from Bunn today, and what he's going to do is set me up with dispatch to where once the trucks go across the scale, I will get an email ticket. So we will have a ticket per load coming in, so we will know exactly where we're at throughout the whole project. So at the end of the day, I can tally them up and make sure that we're still on track.
You'd want to know if they're over, if you're getting more than 6 tons.
Correct.
Nick, do you want us to scan and email you every ticket or anything so that you know where you're at on things? Or?
No, if you want to, you just tell me what it's running, you know, just an idea. I mean,
okay.
Just,
we can make copies of them. You'll be out there.
We've been working very well together. All he needs to tell me is
yeah.
how it's going, and then I don't have to see the receipts.
Okay.
I trust the city.
We'll probably just do a closeout meeting at the end so you know where we're at.
Okay.
How the whole project went in general, and then go from there.
We can talk every once in a while, see we're going on schedule, you know, that we're not going to cost more than we thought it was.
So do you want to go with these dates, or do you want to change these dates?
I think I might make that date. I think it's
the 26th.
I may have the funds before then.
Okay.
There's a very good chance I'll have the funds before then.
And
It's a private bridge loan lender. I've used them before. They're not based on credit or income. All they care about is the property that they got security on.
Mm-hmm. And you want to start October 1st? Is that a...
It's fine. The utility disconnects could take a little time, so
okay.
we may have to do a few things that we can do while we're waiting on those disconnects.
Okay.
But I just want to forewarn you that delay, and you know, there could be a little bit of a delay in the beginning due to the time it takes NIPSCO, but like you and I talked today on the phone, I think I can expedite that.
I'll put a call in tomorrow morning so they'll have my request, so they have that out of the way, and then...
Okay. Any questions? If not, I guess if you want to sign it tonight, we can sign it tonight. If you want to wait until you've got the money in hand and then sign it.
Until I have the money.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we have the contract. You just want to keep it in your office, Tim?
What I'll probably do is just make a couple copies and leave it with the mayor, and then you can just get together with Ken.
Okay, all right.
Have a signature for, or I usually print it from email. It doesn't, yeah. I would have hand delivered it, but
Okay. Any other questions? If not, Don, Kurt, any questions? Thank you, Nick, for coming in. I appreciate it.
I didn't think I was going to make it. I was waiting for 30 minutes at the cross there from Bungie.
Oh, yeah. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go real slow. Yeah.
So, we paid by the hour.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Kurt, you want to come back up? I was going to mess this up now. Kurt has a couple things tonight. First one is an ordinance that you would like to pursue. Tell us about the ordinance that you'd like to pursue.
Well, over the course of the last year, I've noticed every once in a while we get emails, and here lately we're getting them quite frequently. We get emails from insurance adjusters or appraisers. I've got two here that I printed off. One is from Kim Environmental. And basically what they're doing is they're requesting us to do some work for them. A lot of legwork. Give you an example. According to this email, we are partially interested in any permits or information regarding new construction or demolition, land disturbing activity permits, utility tap dates, any files indicating violations at the property, maps or sketches of the building or of the property, building dimensions and lot dimensions. We're also looking to get any historical assessing information. Says she's having a hard time finding it. Well, we don't have any issues doing this, but the problem is it's eating up a lot of our time. We get emails like this probably one a week, and what I would like to do is pursue an ordinance where if we have to do all this legwork for them that they should be doing on their own, that we can bill them for our time. Now, we have contacted the State Board of Accounts, and they say there are no issues with that as long as we adopt an ordinance saying that we can do this. Sometimes we get these emails and they're sending us these forms to fill out. Sometimes they're a page, sometimes they're 3 pages. This email here Sharon took care of, but it took her a couple hours. So it was a couple hours out of her day to track all this information down and get back to these people.
And what kind of agencies did you say are sending them?
Could be appraisers, insurance adjusters,
Title companies.
all kinds.
Yeah.
I mean, we never know when we're going to get them and who it's from until we get them.
I think it's a good idea. Kind of a no-brainer, I think.
Have you checked with other municipalities and see what they do?
No, I have not. This is just something that I brainstormed here last week after I started receiving more of them.
They may, other municipalities may throw the ball back in their court.
And that's, in some cases, when I get the emails, that's what I tend to do.
Exactly.
You know, hey, you can get on the internet and search all this, or you can do this, but most of the time they get pretty demanding, and they start emailing back, wanting us to do this. So instead of sitting there fighting with them over the phone or over the internet, I just use...
Only thing I could see is if, say we have a fee, say we charge them $100 to do the legwork. What if we can't complete everything they want?
Well, then we tell them that. Actually, I wasn't thinking $100. I was thinking, last time I was at the doctor's office, and it said if we have to fill out any Medicare paperwork for you or handicap parking permits or anything like that, it's like a $10 fee.
Well, I think it should be more than that.
So, I think we should be getting some.
Sharon spends a couple of hours
Yeah.
working on these,
Yeah,
then
I would suggest that, because I know that the State Board of Accounts requires that it be a reasonable fee. You can't charge an extravagant amount, so you got to have some justification for it. I'd check with some other municipalities and see what they do or whether it's an issue and how they've addressed it.
That's fine, and that's what we plan on doing. Like I said, I just wanted to come in front of the board and...
if you do that,
to pursue
let
it.
Tim know, then would you both be okay with?
Yeah, if you're going to do something like that, my personal opinion is that you take whatever the salary is that she's being paid per hour, and then we take all the benefits and perks and all that other stuff into consideration also.
You're gonna have $100 then?
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, if you're going to do the legwork for somebody, I just say we spell out full benefit, the whole thing for the employee, that you're choosing to do this legwork for them.
All right.
I take that into
And then
consideration.
we'd also have to let them know that while your request, we are gonna charge you for it, we may not be able to answer every question.
And I think the other thing is you get payment up front,
Correct.
because otherwise you'll do the work, send it out, and you'll never see it.
Right.
Which we have the capability on credit cards now, so they can give us that information over the phone or via email, however they want to do it.
Because what you may find, Kurt, is assuming that we have the ability to charge what we're talking about, and we adopt an ordinance, once you receive a request and you respond back, we charge this amount in order to do the search that you're requesting. You need to pay that in advance before we proceed to do it. I bet you half of them will say, we'll do it ourselves.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. That's the whole
Right.
idea of pursuing it.
I agree. But I would say I'm in agreement with it if you want to pursue that and then bring it back to the board.
Do a little follow-up on it, and then, yeah, I don't
If you know of
think it'd be a problem.
others, you have other people in the industry or in municipalities that you could probably check and see how they handle it.
And make sure you don't stretch yourself too thin.
Right.
Or Sharon, or whatever manpower you're going to pursue within your office staff, you know.
What's the second thing, Kurt?
Second thing is I have a couple houses here that I would like to go after for demolition. You want me to pop the pictures up for you?
That'd be great.
Maybe. Hey, Donnie, this thing ain't working right.
Come on,
Oh,
Don.
never mind.
Here we go.
Just make sure you bring up the right thing.
Yeah, don't go into your personal stuff here, sir.
Alright, let's see. First one here is 710 Schermeyer. This home here was, according to records, owned by a company called Dutch LLC in Wyoming. We have sent numerous letters to these people, and we keep getting the letters back. We've been mowing the yard, and they owe us a lot of money, I think 2 years worth of yard mowing. And when we send out the invoices, we get the money back. So
You get
basically...
the invoice back.
We get the invoice back, we get everything back.
Kurt,
Our business.
have you gone online to the Secretary of State to see if this entity is still in existence? Because if it is, it would have a registered agent. That's who you need to notify. So if you're sending it to some address that's on a property tax card, that's not enough.
Okay.
So what I would do is see, and if it's a foreign entity, they still have to be admitted to do business in Indiana. So they have to have a registered agent in Indiana. And if they're shown to be an active legal entity where they haven't been dissolved or administratively dissolved, then send the notice to the registered agent.
Who did it say on the something
Dutch LLC.
And Dutch LLC, that's who we've been billing for mowing for the last couple
Who
of
was that I
years.
need to get hold of again?
It's the Secretary of State.
Okay.
And just look under business entity search or business
Prior
search.
to Dutch LLC, who lived there?
We didn't
We
have
know?
anything, huh?
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Let's see a couple more pictures.
I'll take you to the inside.
You've been inside.
Yeah, Jeremy was with me.
Gee.
It's got huge holes in the roof.
That's a hazard.
Yeah, there's holes.
Okay,
There's some
so
of them.
if you don't find that there is a Dutch LLC registered anywhere, then would we take the same kind of steps like Huntington sent us in that document, kind of like we did at Cottonwood, or what would we?
Well, yeah, you do the same thing. You have to basically determine that the property is unsafe. You send out a notice to demolish. If they don't demolish it after the period of time you give for them to do so, then the city can take steps to go on the property, get a court order to go on the property and demolish the property. And then you can attach a lien on the property. The issue is if the property is currently encumbered by other liens, you're behind them. So the value of the property may not be enough to repay the city. So if you do this, the city needs to understand that you could very well be faced with eating the money that it cost to take down the buildings and dispose of it.
I have talked to the county, and this particular house here went up for sheriff's sale a while back, and there were no bids. Nobody bid on it. So the county's telling me that come October and November, they're going to put it up for tax sale again. If it doesn't sell then they're going to wipe their books clean and then put it up for bid sale.
Well, and here's the other thing. Do we have a lien on the property as back taxes for the mowing?
For mowing.
Well, then we need to make sure that the county doesn't wipe out our lien.
Okay. Yeah, looking at the tax records, it looks like it's went from one investment agency to another over the last few years. There's a Shamha Investments and Wingate Properties.
You hear about REITs, real estate investment trust. That's what this is. They get bundled into a package, and then investors buy this, and they get tax credits for it. And so they don't really care the condition.
You're smiling. You ever do that? I have.
Maybe.
I just Googled Dutch LLC to see if we could find anything.
I didn't know about the other ones. The only one I've ever dealt with in the last couple of years has been Dutch LLC. Or I should say we've been dealing with.
The other house is 904
When I Googled
Schermeyer.
Dutch LLC, it's a women's club.
Previous owner was Louis Aguirre. Louis is deceased,
Contemporary, apparently.
and the house just sits vacant. Adam Aguirre, his uncle, has a lien, a $20,000 lien on the property, but his name's nowhere on the title.
That's 703, Kurt, I'm
Huh?
sorry. Did you say 703?
904.
904.
And to further complicate that property, somebody else actually claims ownership.
Yeah, Adelina Berlanga from Rockford, Ohio, has been paying the taxes for the last several years, actually on the tax documents. There's a note that they made that in July of 2010, she was in their office stating that she paid the taxes the last few years back then. At one point, we had contacted her and Adam McGee, and she called in and wanted to know what it was going to cost to have it demolished, and we told her we'd get back to her. We tried to get a hold of her. I took Jeremy out there, and Jeremy said roughly he could do it for about $1,500. We've been trying to contact her to see if she would be interested in the city demolishing this, because if she was willing to pay for it, then that would still leave just her and Adam McGee
To work out who's...
what. If she doesn't and we go in, then that's going to be an even dirtier title there.
Who's mowing it?
Somebody's mowing.
I think Adam, or somebody, yeah, we haven't mowed
We
it.
don't know if it's Adam
Yeah.
or
Well,
Frank was right next door.
I'm guessing it's somebody that's being paid by this lady, because I'll guarantee you what she's doing is she's paying taxes on the property and she's maintaining it in terms of mowing it. And if she does that continuously, openly, exclusively for a period of 10 years or more, she can file an action in court to quiet title in the property. And that's probably why she's paying taxes, because you have to pay taxes on the
Where'd
property.
you want it?
I would say she possibly would want the property, but not the house. I mean, wait, what Tim's saying, I mean, I would think if the house was gone, it would become a little more valuable to her.
But I think she's going to be reluctant to pay for it unless she has reason to believe that she can get title.
Oh, yeah.
So we're still trying to get a hold of her again to see if she's interested. But these are the two that I'd like to target and try and get done this year yet, if possible. Even the neighbors are calling in and complaining.
Has Adam and this lady ever talked recently that you know of?
I don't know. I got an earful from Frank when we were out there. But
There's, I don't know if this is the situation or not, but there is kind of a schism in the family, and I don't know if Adam's on one side and this woman's on the other or not. I have no idea. I don't know her.
Mike, you've never been involved with that schism, have you?
Schism here, schism there.
I've heard quite well from out there.
No, I don't. But it used to be, I could remember it used to be a quite the friction.
So for 710, we will get a hold of the Secretary of State and go even further with that, try and button that up.
If you need help with that, Kurt, let me know. But
Huh?
I said if
Okay.
you need help with that, let me know.
As far as this 904, we're going to try and get a hold of Adelina again. If we can't, then we need to make a decision on
Just,
whether we're going to do
just
this or not.
curious, Kurt, because I know you've been working with Huntington. Has Huntington ever encountered something like this? It's a shame the first two houses that we want to take
Actually,
down.
I talked to Shad Paul Monday, and I was telling him about this house. And
Right.
he didn't say anything one way or the other, whether he's ever encountered it, but I told him what we were facing on this.
Would you like to do a road trip over there sometime?
That's fine with me.
Have a time going?
Yeah, I don't care. But I think what you're looking at is probably incurring the costs and not having much of an opportunity to recoup it.
We're looking $1,500 on this one as well. Which, if that's the case, then we take it out of my unsafe buildings.
On 904, I would, because I think we sent this out previously, but I would send it to both parties.
Again,
Anybody that has an interest in that property should be notified.
we can send out an order to demolish.
While you're up here, I had down here the 133 Stratford Court property. Tim, how long did the notice that the police delivered, how long was that giving them?
I believe it was till Friday to remove all property.
23rd, I think I saw. On your note.
It's Sunday.
Okay, these were the pictures
Before?
on the 12th.
Thursday, September 21st.
21st, okay.
So that's in 2 days. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And what I understand is Kevin Gerber said that after he served this, he went out about 3 hours later. That was entirely gone from the front of their house, but they piled it up in the back of their house.
That is the back.
That is the back there.
Okay.
That's the driveway.
So that was...
There was nothing ever in the front.
They live on Stratford Court, but the back of their house is on County Road 200, and they have a garage up.
Well, Kevin said they moved it from one side of the house to the other.
Oh, wow.
That's now. That's Kurt went out there today.
You can actually see the garage doors.
So he's got rid of a lot, but he's still got some to go.
Do you have some of the first pictures I took way back that I knew this
No,
was...
the only ones I have are from the 12th. And
Okay, I knew this was going to be one.
I have the ones that were taken
Okay.
back at the time that the June letter was sent.
Yeah, okay, good.
I have that.
Because they never have it, actually,
No.
ever cleaned it up totally.
Yeah, no.
It's always been lagging.
The thing that I also indicated in the letter was not only were they given until Thursday the 21st to clean up the mess that exists, but I told them that in addition, should these conditions again occur, the city will immediately file litigation and seek injunctive relief and recover daily fines, court costs, and attorney fees. So what we're trying to do is, first, get this cleaned up now, and second, make sure it doesn't happen again.
So I'm wondering, if you define clean it up, does he think he has it cleaned up?
That's not cleaned up.
I didn't say it was. I said, does he think it's cleaned up?
Don't think it's cleaned up.
The letter says, unless you've removed all refuse, trash, garbage, and other waste currently located upon or littering your property by Thursday, city personnel and its contractors will enter your property pursuant to our code and remove the debris at your expense.
So it's by this Thursday, so in other words, he has tomorrow.
If he does, he has until the end of Thursday. If he doesn't have it cleaned up Thursday, Friday, we can move in.
And we have the right to declare what we feel is trash and refuge. I mean, we have that right in our ordinance.
Well, you're going to get into an argument with him, but
Well-
yeah, we can remove it. If he claims that it has value, he could turn around and sue the city. That's a risk you take.
It's all right.
Well,
Do you know if that vehicle is licensed? Let's say that red.
well, he couldn't get to it.
oh, the red truck?
I don't know that it's been there that long.
No. He had, last time I was out there, he had a demolition derby car.
Yeah, that's going now.
Yeah, well, I tagged it. But, no, I don't know. But you're right. He may think that he's clean enough. I mean,
He may think that's cleaned up.
exactly. And I don't know what kind of situation you get into there, but,
Because I remember when him and his wife were in here, and they didn't seem to understand what...
no, that's not...
That wasn't the same people?
No, we never had...
Okay.
These people, actually, the people that owned the house prior, and this was back in May, left him a pile of stuff. Wiley told me about it. Left him just a pile of junk all over the yard and in the driveway. And I went out, and that's the pictures I took, and told him he had to clean that up. And he was in the process of cleaning up, and he had the yard pretty much cleaned up, but he didn't have the driveway cleaned up. So,
Well, Board of Works, I'm inclined that Friday morning, we take a drive out there, Jeremy, and if there's a pile of trash there, you send out a dump truck and payloader and you load it up. We move on, see if he,
So our ordinance that says that we have the right to declare what is trash and refuge would not hold up if he feels that there's some value in some of that stuff he has?
If he claims that it has value, and it's not, I mean, it's a subjective thing, Bill. You know, what we think is junk, they may not. We take it and dispose of it, and he claims that he was denied his property that had value, he could turn around and try to sue the city and
What do you
recover
guys think?
damages.
Yeah, but
What do you
I
think?
take it to the salvage yard and you hand him a check. That's what it's worth. But you need a motion?
no, I don't think he gets a check.
Oh.
He's gonna get a bill from us for our
Okay.
time, is what he's gonna get.
Well, I wish we had a little bit more than a slippery slope like that, because it makes it awful difficult.
Anybody ever been up there during the day? Is somebody usually home, do you know, or
No,
No.
nobody's home?
they're not home. I just happened to catch him one Friday, and I was able to
Do we
talk
have-
to him.
Do we have a phone number? Because I'll be glad to call him tomorrow and tell him that if there's anything left there on Friday, that we'll be out there bright and early.
But actually, that's kind of our job, Kurt or myself.
Okay.
I don't think
Then,
you need to get involved, because that's just the way it is. That's the process. Right, Kurt?
Yep.
so, Board of Works, what do you think of that? Should Bill or Kurt, I would say tomorrow, throughout the day, try to contact them somehow, whether you pay a visit there or whatever, and let them know that Thursday's his last day that he has to clean up, and if it's not cleaned up Friday, we'll be out. And if it's not trash, it probably should be put in the garage or somewhere.
Yeah,
Well, he
can-
can't. He has his own room in the garage.
If he wants to store this somewhere, as long as it's out of sight.
Yeah, needs to be outside.
I think what you need to do, if we're going that route, we need to have him come in here and explain this to him.
If we don't go that route, then he's just gonna do it again.
Well, then we need to tell him that. And we need to tell him that we're going to take everything that's in your yards and your driveway. And if he says, well, some of that's worth of value, then you say, get it out of there. Get it gone, whatever you don't want. But I
You
think
better
you
put
need
it in your
to,
garage, put it in your house, or somewhere.
I think you need to pull him in here. I'm personally, I think that, but whatever. I'm just one voice.
I think that can be explained to him tomorrow and tell him.
Yeah, I mean, what good was the letter we sent him if we don't
Yeah, he
want
didn't care.
I understand
That's
that.
it.
I understand that, but then again, you're questioning what he thinks clean is. So,
Sure.
What do you think, Kurt?
yeah.
Try calling, contacting.
What I would also suggest is, if we do go out and we remove stuff, I'd take photos so we have evidence of what was there and what was removed.
Well, if we have to go Friday, I'll go out with them, take pictures, everything. But I'm gonna try and get a hold of him tomorrow,
You
or
also,
possibly Thursday.
if we do it like we've done it in the past, you need a police officer there, one or two. So that,
Yeah, shoot you.
well, we've done that before when Kenny was our chief. I don't know if you got involved with it, Mike. But we cleaned some properties up and we just, no, not the same person. But we just took everything.
Okay, why don't you keep me posted. If you get a hold of the guy tomorrow, one way or another, if you don't get a hold of him, Mike, would you think it would be all right if he doesn't get a hold of him, you think it'd be all right to have Kevin or somebody go out and watch for somebody to get home and then maybe talk to them after they get home?
Yeah,
Yeah,
target tomorrow night then.
probably, if we don't get hold of them during the day.
You do it tonight. You want it tonight.
So, all right.
You want me to talk about the voter's registration, or you want me to save that for another one?
Hold on here, let me go back. While you're sitting there, I emailed council members, all of you, the update from Bob Aaronman. If any of you have any questions about that, Tim, did you have any comments you wanted to add to what Bob emailed us?
I know Pat Hess. Pat, in fact, along with Bob, are frequent speakers at continuing legal ed courses in this area, so he's very familiar and knowledgeable, which is good because I think Bob can work with somebody like that and potentially get something worked out that potentially would avoid a court hearing. And as long as we can enter into some type of an agreement that's enforceable through the court, I think that's the route to go at this point. It's going to be easier to work with somebody like Pat Hess than it would be others that are unfamiliar with that type of law.
And Bill, I'm sorry, I forgot to copy you on the email. I sent it out to the council members, and I didn't send it to you, but we got a letter, an email from Bob Aaronman saying that he was contacted from, what was the name of the firm again? Or
It's Pat Hess and Brian, I forget the other attorney's name.
Beckman and Lawson.
Yeah, it's Beckman and Lawson.
And that, he says that's a good thing because he is such a, he's familiar with this kind of thing, and says he thinks they can make some kind of a settlement.
So this is Gamble's.
Oh, okay,
Gamble,
yeah.
And what are we going to, what's this guy going to do?
They,
Make sure that
Bob filed an action in court
you get
to
with
get
Mahan
injunctive relief
and
to
get our number that this guy can
expand
reach
his
us.
business up and down the street. which
Okay,
is-
so that we can make arrangements to go out there sometime.
And he's
So-
been in
I'll let,
violation of the
Stratford
restrictions that
Yeah, I'll
the
take care of that.
BZA placed on granting the variance to begin with.
Okay. Council members, anybody have any questions on the Gamble situation on North 10th?
I'm just glad to see Pat Hess got involved. He's very level-headed.
See, Decatur Hess?
Yeah.
He has relatives here.
His sister's Vicky mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, Kurt, we have time, so go ahead.
All right, one other thing I was looking at pursuing was a builder registration or contractor registration. Right now, the city of Decatur, anybody and their brother can come in here and start swinging a hammer, slapping concrete, laying rebar, doing whatever. Talked to a few of the other municipalities, Huntington, Marshall County, Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne, you actually have to take a test to become a licensed contractor. Talking with Huntington or Marshall County, Huntington says that they're starting to require companies, builders, whomever, to have some type of licensing or registration in the state of Indiana. Marshall County requires that anybody who wants to do any type of construction have some type of bonding. So I think it's minimum of $20,000 bond, insurance policy, whatever, so if they mess something up, their insurance will cover that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because over the last 6 months, I've had some contractors come in and tell me they're going to do this, this, and this. When I get out to the job site, they have no clue as to what they're doing. I just had this last week where the guy pours a trench footing and he's planning on doing floor joists and band boards. So they were going to sit right on the ground. He had, after I started to explain to him, you can't do a trench footing in this format. You have to do a conventional footing or a spread footing. You're going to have to widen your trenches. You're going to have to pour 8-inch thick by 16-inch wide footing, let it set up, and then you're going to have to form your walls. And the guy's giving me deer in the headlights look. He says, well, if I got to do all that, then that's going to be a lot more work. And I said, well, you've got it set up for a slab, so why aren't you doing a slab? So I had to walk him through this whole process. So what's happening is I'm going from building inspector to project manager, and now I have to babysit and hold their hands until the project's done.
How'd that one turn out? What did he end up
It
doing?
actually turned out pretty good. I went by there today as I was taking pictures. It just happens to be right down the road from Stratford. So I went out there today and it actually looked pretty good, but I had to explain to him he needed to start stringing lines, he needed to start checking everything for level, because I'm not kidding, within a 16-foot area, he had a good foot drop from the house down because of the yard grading. And what clued me in was he didn't have any of the grass or anything removed inside the perimeter of the trench footing. And that's what I started asking the question, you got to take that grass out of there. And he says, why? And I said, because if you put your stone and your plastic, your mesh, and then pour your slab over top of that grass, it's going to die, it's going to ferment, and it's going to stink. So I'm looking into pursuing this, even if it comes to the point where I have to come up with a generic test to give somebody.
So what happens if homeowner wants to build his own addition? He's built his own garage. You know, that happens all the time. You know, what would be the...
Well, maybe he comes in and takes the test.
It's benefiting that owner, though.
Yeah,
really.
well,
I mean, you want it to be safe.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like if a guy wants to do his own work.
His own, yeah, if I wanted to go build my own garage and I didn't know anything about, or didn't have anything to do with this, or, you know, it's a valid point. I mean, you know, everybody has a right to where I'm working on my own building right now, but...
Or even a deck. You know, a lot of homeowners build their own decks.
Exactly.
That,
And that's why we push for the permits. That I'm not sure. But I do know this guy I dealt with last week, and he's not the first over the last year. He's doing it for someone else. You know, maybe if it is the homeowner doing it, maybe, okay, yeah, I can hold his hands and answer questions. I've done that before. I've done it on West Monroe Street. You know, I don't have a problem with that, but when it's somebody else coming...
You're doing it for hire.
For hire,
yeah.
The first thing I'm thinking of that home, if this doesn't go right, that homeowner's going to come after me because I inspected it.
Yep.
So now I've got to heighten the senses there a little bit. And
I like the idea, but I would like maybe some more information. Find out what Huntington is.
yeah,
what
like I said, I had this conversation yesterday at the meeting I was at. And
do a little follow-up on it. Come back. All right?
How far have you gotten with homes in need of repair?
We're working on that ordinance as well.
Okay.
Building maintenance ordinance. Tim's loving me. So.
Yeah, but just think when we get all these things in place.
Yeah, it'll clean up the community.
They won't have anything to do. You know?
I don't think so.
I'll find new stuff to do.
Jeremy.
We had a pretty full schedule tonight, or is that like...
On council? No, mostly it's that, you know, however long it takes us to do Madison Street. Other than that, it's very small. Jeremy wants to talk to us about an amendment to the Title VI plan. Of course, everybody knows what the Title VI plan is, right?
You know? I don't know.
I didn't either. I said, what's the Title VI plan?
I know.
And one of Tim and Phil with copies of it. You can actually have a copy of it too. I didn't make a bunch of them, but
Okay.
basically, we are required by NDOT and Federal Highway to establish our ADA transition plan and Title VI discrimination plan. We were actually working with Tim back in late 2011. We were one of the first communities in the state of Indiana to adopt our transition plan. Every few years, it's required by NDOT and Federal Highway that we're audited to make sure that we're in compliance. We are in compliance other than they made a couple suggestions to the plan, which is on that first page, it is your public involvement survey, basically. And probably more in plan commission meetings and such, we probably ought to pass these out, you know, a couple times a year just to have a few on file If we don't get them on file, we may have to fill them out ourselves, being that we were at the meetings, because they're going to start asking for records over the next 2 years, just to make sure that we're passing them. But also on the next page is I Speak cards. You know, we barely seldom run into this. Actually, it's on the third page, sorry. We very seldom run into this, but in the larger communities, they have different people from different nationalities come in to meetings and have to determine what language they speak, to make sure you're not discriminating against their rights to attend public hearings, public meetings,
I'm having a hard time.
activities, and such.
I'm having a hard time understanding between simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese. Can you kind of explain that to me?
Nope. So basically, I just need your nod of approval of, yeah, you do agree with this amendment, and we have to add it to our website as a, I believe we said an appendage or something to our ADA plan, so everyone knows that there was an amendment there.
I concur. You need a motion? Motion to accept and follow the procedure. Title VI.
Second.
Thank you.
Before I take it to vote, Tim, any questions or anything?
No, Jeremy and I talked about this. NDOT's the one that does the review and audit of our plan and compliance, so they're the ones that made this recommendation. I think if we follow through and we make some effort to obtain surveys that we have on file,
Okay.
you know, whether we send out random mailings, ask people who attend meetings to fill it out if they're willing to, and leave them,
Put it on our website.
put it on the website if they want to fill it out and send it in. There's different ways to try to get it out there. I think that we probably should do that.
And in that letter, I did explain to Tim, NDOT sent me a sample, which was their letter. And they told me, and I saved the email, and they said it's changed everywhere where it says NDOT to the city of Decatur. I did that, I sent it back to them, they approved it.
Okay.
So it's legit. So it's...
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Agree on, so.
thank you. Melissa? I have three things, I guess, with Melissa. The first one is really more of a Tim thing, and that is the MKM contract, and that's all good to go now, so do I just need to...
What's it called? Title VI.
just fill in the boxes and sign where under the owner's area?
What, okay, you have a different,
This is the brand new one that just came, that was attached to today's email.
that says Keystone Financial.
Holy cow. Here we go. Starts right there.
Okay, yeah.
What is
So, I don't know. That's why I was a little confused.
Not
when-
approved for a loan. Oh, it goes to Jim.
Yeah.
That weird, at 225 West Monroe Street.
So this is probably Bill Carpenter's.
Probably John.
I had brought that along. Well, anyway, yeah, this document I reviewed, they made the changes that we requested. So,
Matter of signing.
it would be approval of the contract authorizing you to sign on behalf of the city.
This is a 25-page document, contract, from MKM, what's her official name? MKM Architects, okay?
What's it for?
It's for helping us design the first floor of the lobby. Okay?
Okay.
And put it out to bid for a contractor to do the work. So, I mean, they would help us with designing the walls, the lighting, the wiring, the plumbing. This is the same architect firm that's working with Biggs on the rest of the project. And we're hoping that when we would put it out to bid, that if Wygan is doing the construction, that probably Wygan would get the bid as well, because it would just make more sense while keep everything uniform. But who knows? I mean, it could be anybody.
So they're going to design the project for us?
We'll make
Yes.
it so it go out for bid.
Yeah. They're going to design it and work up the bid specs so that we can put it out to bid.
Okay.
We're
$25,000.
going to tell them what the general design is, then they put it in the format of the documents that will be relied upon by whoever gets the contract to construct it.
And who's we? The Main Streets Design Committee?
I think that's who's been...
No?
No.
Greater Decatur Committee, that's right.
Greater Decatur has a committee that's working on the Second Street loft.
Greater Decatur broke into two halves, one working on the lofts, one working on Hannah Mountain.
Okay.
So I can't recall off the top of my head who's on that. You're on it.
We have a representation of Greater Decatur local art teachers, artists. Jenny from Decatur Main Street was a part of it, so we have a good cross-section of representation.
Okay. How much is it? 25 grand?
25,000, yeah. Like I said, it was
Is that what you want us to do?
Pretty great.
Decatur?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I have a motion to okay this.
Motion to okay.
Motion to give you permission to sign that.
Second, okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you, that's that. Then, two other things Melissa had. One is, we've been talking about the downtown area, and I've had people complain to me, and maybe some of you have as well, that they're walking down the street and they got something in their hand, they want to throw it away, and there's no trash cans up and down 2nd Street. So, trying to come up with something without putting $1,000 per trash can into trash cans, which is what trash cans were on the plaza. And Seth Haynes has his Can Do Media trash can entity, business, whatever. What do you keep laughing about?
The $1,000 look on everybody's face was
Oh.
like, holy crap.
Well,
I'd rather that than Can Do Media.
you're not a favorite of the Can Do Media?
No,
Why?
just not on 2nd Street.
Pull the pictures if you could.
I'm
Can.
having technical difficulties.
Don?
My iPhone won't recognize the VIA.
Got the app on your phone, right?
I do.
I think there's some can-do medias out at the park.
Yes,
And
there
that's what
are.
I took pictures of. There's a couple at Legion Park.
When we brought it up a few years ago,
Um,
I remember that.
where you decided to put it best.
Yeah.
Started.
They're in the parks. They're at Hannah Nutman Park.
Yeah.
So he basically sells the advertising and then puts a trash can out.
It costs us nothing.
Yeah.
One snuck in then over by Diblix.
Netflix.
Corner.
Does he take out the trash too?
No.
No.
We take out the trash.
We take out the trash. He provides the trash bags, but we get 10% back from any advertising he sells. A check would come to us. And Parks and Rec uses it right now, and they've had a good relationship with him, and that he's putting, these are at Legion Park. And what I like about this one is that the square is for trash and the circle is for recycling. So it kind of goes along with our...
There are two
our
different
ticket
bags
book.
inside that
So there
thing?
are 2 bags inside?
I believe, I didn't stick my head in there, but there are 2
Come on.
slots for, but there are 2 slots, there are 2 separated areas.
Okay.
And then this is kind of the closer out. But it's an affordable option that we wouldn't have to pay for them. They're black, they kind of go along with the color scheme of everything else. If we don't like them, he'll come get them.
How many do we need?
You got that? Melissa and I took a walk, kind of tried to figure out where to put them. And the stars, you know, if you follow 2nd Street from the top coming down, the first star's in Founders Park. The second one is down across from where, or right in front of where Woodwings was, across the street from Sherwin-Williams. And then there would be one on the other side of the street down near the law firm, Miller, Berry, Herman, that area. Then one on each corner at the plaza, one by the Community Foundation, one by Prestige Realty, and then one down in the area in front of the Hope Chest. That's 6 of them. It's 4 on the one side and only 2 on the other. Only reason there's 4 on the one side is because of the plaza.
Is there one there by Niblick's too?
These are the locations that we
Oh, no, I'm
proposed.
sorry, that's Founder's Park, my bad.
Yeah. I don't know if there's still one out by Niblick's anymore or not.
No.
14 years ago, when I started working for the city, when riding a garbage truck, there was either 14 or 16 in the downtown that we built every Tuesday.
And now there's,
Virtually
Virtually
none.
none.
We've been talking about this for 10 years.
Eric Mann hits me up every time I see him.
Well, we don't need anything, we got Eric.
Well, he's on, how much longer is he gonna do it, you know?
No,
What do we got in the plaza? 2?
We have 2
And then for events, we put out 13.
of the big barrels that they cut.
Right, and I'm not saying that we want those
And they work
downtown.
fine, but
Well, I mean, for events.
How much does it really cost?
what's that, the plaza ones?
Probably
Upwards, close to $1,000 a
$1,000.
piece.
How? What? I mean,
Well, sort of the benches.
it's an industrial, commercial,
It's powder coated.
powder coated, that if somebody messes with it, it's the commercial aspect of it. We're
Hey,
open to other suggestions.
Jeremy, I got a question. How tough is it for somebody to get a trash bag out of these things? Have you seen it?
It's pretty tough.
It's,
To get out of these? Okay.
The bags that are provided from Seth, it's kind of a, he gives you bags, but the bags don't quite fit
Oh.
well. And Sue does have a difficult time getting them out, I will say that.
Okay, I mean, does the lid hinge and then you pop the bag down?
They're just hard to get in, but hard to get back out once they're full. The bags just don't fit like they should.
Oh.
It's the experience we've had at like Legion Park and some of them.
Seth, or is it Seth? Pass that down. I don't like how it's
What's Main Street's
I just
design
Googled
committee?
municipal trash cans, and there's,
the design committee talked about this once we learned the price of the trash cans that are on the plaza, and they're okay with this as a, let's see how it goes. There's like I said, the color matches, they look fairly attractive. There's an opportunity to advertise downtown and local events as kind of a promotional thing, so they're okay with giving these a try.
Main Street design.
Yeah, and like I said, if you have any other suggestions, we're open to them, but we know that there's a need for trash cans downtown. I think nobody wants to spend that amount of money on a trash can.
I'm just
and
going back to
They brought us, this is an idea.
when Can Do Media approached the city before. We
a long time ago.
long time ago, let's try it in the parks. I went and asked a few downtown merchants, one being, I'm going to pick on 2 picky people, Eileen Eichhorn and Jean Brune. They did not like the look of Can Do Media for 2nd Street. Now, they're not on the design committee, granted, but could there be a donor for pretty trash cans?
If they would like to write a check, we'd be happy to accept it.
We need several donors, though.
you're talking 6, right? That's the start.
That's a start.
This is a
That's just a
suggestion of
start.
location.
And you saw the ones I just,
They're just expensive.
Well, and the ones that are in the plaza, Jeremy, are those easy to get out of? Are those easy to trade the trash in?
You're tall.
Not really,
No.
because they set off the ground so high.
So you gotta be your height to get the trash out of
I
there?
don't think I have a picture on my phone anymore, but I was taking pictures of one of your concerts,
Uh-huh.
and to give you an idea, if you stand up and up. Well, Melissa was by one of those cans, and the top of it's about right here on her arm.
Yeah, it does stand up.
Because we're on a pedestal.
For Sue to have to take the bag out of that, Sue's about the same height as
Sue
me.
just, she struggles.
It's physically
But they also make some that just will sit on the ground.
Well, there was kind of a cool one in there that has a little hinge and pulled the, like a plastic can.
Pull a bucket out of there, yeah.
I don't mean to intervene on here, but this is what the park board is considering
Oh.
for, like,
Instead of the barrels?
nature preserve, because we're getting complaints that there's no
Trash
there's
cans.
no cans in the nature preserve. You can buy those for about $500 to $600, depending on how many that
What's
you
that
buy.
Those are nice.
Yeah. Hey,
It sits right on top of the ground.
the ones that can do, are those bolted down, or are they just...
They're sitting
They're
there.
just
They're
like-
just sitting there.
The door
I have nothing
question, we
personally
didn't go with
against
the door because
That-
they go,
that's
that's
just an
one more
example
thing
of what-
that can go
we don't
wrong
want
with a
anything
trash can.
else.
So
Would you
that's
put
what
them
we
out of
did.
hand
So
at that
that's
much?
how-
Nice.
I have nothing against the
The
can-do
barrels
guys. I like them.
don't work
I like-
out sometimes because
don't
people
mind the
knock
concept.
It's not guys anymore.
And
The
you
rest of
just
those guys,
put it in,
David Martin,
they pull
Ruble, they're
they're
all
all
out.
out.
Pour everything
It's
out.
just
That
that-
things.
Yeah.
It's just an aesthetic
You
thing.
like that one or not like that one? That one he showed.
That look good.
And that's also
Money.
money. So.
Yeah, but what'd you say the price on that, 500?
Between $500 and $600, depending on how many that you buy.
Okay.
This says $629, but if you add 2 or more, is $599, and it keeps running along.
Is, who believes that we could find donors?
I'm inclined to say so.
You inclined to say we could
I'll
find
make Eileen put her money where...
8 of them or so?
I agree.
8 donors or so?
If you start out with 6, how many is it, when's the break? Jeremy?
After like 5.
Well, then I say we don't go with Can-Do Media, and but who wants to head up
I will.
finding donors?
I will.
I think the ones that Jeremy has are a better solution than the
Yeah.
ones currently on the plaza, just because they're so tall and
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
we didn't have...
I think that's, the
Did we
look of
choose-
that looks
Did we even
appropriate.
choose that style? Or
The
did
trash
that just
can?
happen? Yeah.
We chose,
Oh,
the
okay.
committee chose it,
Design team did.
correct.
Okay.
Jeremy?
Can we purchase a couple, and then I have some bums in a recycling slash trash that I haven't used yet this year for equipment.
I think a go, yeah.
I
mean, I'd much rather have a really nice trash can, but
I would too.
Look like, and if we choose that we don't want them, we're not out much, I'll still pay for them. Your sanitation.
Mhm.
And
Sounds like a good
If we
deal.
decide we do like them, or order more, and I'll still pay for them.
And if you want to try, and when you do that, maybe get a nice picture of the can off of their webpage or whatever, get it to Matt so that Matt can maybe start working on
Okay.
finding some other people interested in helping
Me and
out.
Eileen. That will be 2.
All right, good deal, that's
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you. And then the last thing, and we still have time,
And that was trash cans.
back when we wrote our social media ordinance, we talked about companies that can archive our
Facebook,
postings.
Twitter,
Yeah,
Instagram.
Yeah, postings. And
What's that again, Ken? What'd you say?
well, it was social media archiving, okay? So when we have a city webpage, Les has a fire department one, police have a police department one, the park and rec has a park and rec one. Anything gets posted on there, a company will archive everything, okay? And we told Melissa that night to go ahead and check into what that involves. And so she has a little report or something or other on what that involves, because I sure don't know.
All right, I'm going to show you an example here. The social media ordinance that City Council enacted, there's like 10 points of things that if a comment would fall into one of those categories, we can remove it. And there's a couple things that, well, that's good, I don't feel like I can make that decision on my own. so I usually contact the mayor and say yes or no.
She contacted me here recently, I contacted
So I
Tim.
contacted him recently. Don,
Don,
this isn't working.
why are you the only one that can make this work? Are you our IT guy? Don, the IT guy.
Job security, right, Donnie?
I don't, what comes with that? So, 2 weeks ago when we had the Buckeye Pipeline event, there was a posting that really got away from the nature of the original post. And I decided to remove it. So, thank you. And I'm going to show you what this post was. And if you can see the top post, it's from Ingrid.
Where's Ingrid from again?
Ingrid is from somewhere in California.
But this was about our...
And this was about when we were posting different releases from the different organizations concerning the Buckeye Pipeline event. So, to me, this got away from the original intent of the post, and I decided to take that post down. Now, with this archive social, it backs up every single thing, whether I post it, whether the city posts it, or there's a comment. Archive social will back it up. And the cool thing about this is, the day that I decided to take this down, I can go into the back end of Archive Social and type, I took this down because of this, and I initial it, so that if I'm not here, or somebody else is here, or however it works, there's always a record of why that was removed. So in 2 years, if Ingrid decides that my free speech was infringed upon, we can go back and see that post and see why it was removed, and everything is documented. And Archive Social will go back and capture every single thing that's been posted on the city's Facebook page forever, and we'll archive it.
It's pretty cumbersome if you posted something, let's say 5 years ago on Facebook, and you want to go back and look at it. It's kind of hard to do that. You know?
Right.
So how much is it?
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
The cheapest package is $199 a month. And what that gets is it lets you archive up to 1,000 records a month. And a record is a city post, a comment, all those things are individual records. That also includes up to 10 social media accounts. So if the city wanted to do it, if the fire or police department decided they wanted to do it, the mayor's Twitter page, we have an Instagram for Hannah Nutman, all those things could go into one place and be considered under that 1,000 records a month.
I'm going to ask a question, and this is...
And
Go ahead, sorry.
no, and I'll do my best to answer.
Well, if this takes a much longer answer than is warranted in my question, then I'll get answered afterwards. So, why do we even allow posts? Why do we allow people to comment on if this is an informational page, why is it not sufficient just for us to say, this is what's going on? It's not restricting their free speech. If they want to talk about it on Facebook, they can write it on their own page. They can say, whatever. Ingrid can write on her own page about the city of Decatur.
Can you post something on Facebook so that people can't comment? I don't even know.
You can restrict
I believe we can set up our page
Originally, we had it set up that way.
You can set it so nobody...
No one...
Page.
Yeah. I mean, I understand this, and I just feel like, how can it be restrictions? It doesn't stop anybody from saying whatever they want. I mean, people can read something about the newspaper. That's a one-way source, right? We're just broadcasting the information. They want to talk bad about us afterwards, fine, but not on our page.
We do get a lot of questions through the Facebook page, whether it be a private message or questions within posts that people are, this is a one in not very often circumstance where people are posting things that aren't relevant to the original post.
But you can set it up so that people can respond and ask questions. It's just not posted. It's not for everybody to see. People can respond to a post privately.
Through a private message.
Well, not through a private message. I mean, you can set it up that it does. Whatever they post doesn't automatically go on your
Post.
your page.
Social page.
It's a response, it's still there, we're still
Public.
responding to it, it just doesn't show up in the feed. So that way we can answer questions that way if they can.
Okay, it's public and private, isn't that what it is? Like, because I've seen things where people want to share it, and they'll say, well, you need to make it public first.
Right, yeah, you need to plug so everybody can see. Honestly, on my campaign page, I had that. I would put information out, and some people would respond, and they go, why is this not shared publicly? And I'm like, because I don't want you to share it publicly. I'll engage you privately,
Mhm.
but this is an informational page. So, I don't know. I mean, I get the archiving piece. I think there's some validity to, covering our butts, but
Melissa, would it be, I mean, is our concern at times like this, is that our big concern?
It's my big concern.
Okay, and it's not happening often. It's happened a couple times.
It's happened a couple times,
Right.
and when it does happen, it's, I would say, in an incredibly offensive
Yep.
situation.
And it happens very quick. I don't want to have
Yes.
this.
I think
I
we
try
you were
not to
gone when we put
remove
this policy
comments
in place.
because there are citizens and they can say what they need to say as long as it's not offensive. But
Well-
occasionally this happens, and instead of me keeping a folder of screenshots on my desktop that I screenshot and send it to, and maybe in a year I won't remember, or we won't remember why we removed those things. I don't know if the cost outweighs
Well, that's where I'm going.
often the issue is happening.
$200 a month,
Like you
when,
said, when we did the social media ordinance, you asked me to look into something like this,
Right.
and this is where we are.
yeah.
Well, here's the other issue that you can run into, and we ran into it with
I'm going to take this down.
a situation a few months ago where a records request was made, and the posts like this that are made by the city potentially are public records. And so if it's difficult to archive or to retrieve public records and somebody makes a request, you have an obligation to produce those. And so it may make it very, very difficult to retrieve records that are legitimately requested. So if you have an archive service, it may facilitate in responding to that type of situation. That would be one justification for the expenditure. If you can set up your page the way Cam described, you may still be able to provide information pieces to the general public and allow the public to raise questions that can then be responded to on a private basis, but it still gives the feedback from the public that maybe we want as a community, as a city, and at the same time, it doesn't get out of hand with the public comments that are showing up.
I'm all for answering questions and letting people engage in dialogue, but I think a lot, especially when people come out and say, you got to make that comment public. They're not saying that because they actually want to engage and have a dialogue. They're saying that because they want to be heard. They want to express their displeasure with what's going on in the community.
And 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. I mean, people are seeing our posts and sharing them, or they're tagging another person so that they're seeing the information. But it's just,
Yeah.
the 1 or 2 times that we've had to deal with this, I'm unsteady that even though it's offensive, I took down someone's thought, and their thought is their thought. And even though we have an ordinance, I don't know if we're truly still protected from people's comments.
I think if you document, and in this case, whether you archive it or whether you print off the post and you then have some type of documentation that's put in a file for every post that's taken down, so we've got a record of what was taken down and why, we could do it that way too.
And for $200 a month, no more than it's happening, I think, if this becomes a more common thing, then maybe we look at this. But right now, I would just say let's continue with your desktop file folder, and maybe we consider some of our postings. I know some of them you'll want people to engage maybe on it, but if not, maybe some of the posts we make them private posts rather than public. But One nice thing is, if, say she puts something out of, it's Thursday and it's farmer's market and there's a concert, whatever, you want people to share that, okay? That's,
They can still share
They
it.
can still share that, can't they?
I don't think you can share a private post.
Facebook gurus, anybody?
I just know when the Carrie Butler put her thing on about Hannah Nutman, that no one could share it because when she put it on, it was private, and they hey, make it public so we can share it. And then she did, and then everybody could share it.
Surely there's a way. I will look into it.
I don't know.
I will look into it.
Okay,
Thank you.
that is all I have on the Board of Works agenda. Gentlemen, you have anything else over here?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. I think you covered
How about that?
We got 8 minutes, good stuff.
That's the next meeting, October 2nd.
I don't know if you got a couple minutes, I don't know if it's Board of Works or council related, but I've had several people comment, why is there a need to close First Street for farmer's market? Why can't the farmer's market go in the First Street parking lot?
Melissa, you want to answer that one?
The way the plaza rules are set up, there cannot be vehicles pulled on to the plaza. And we have a handful of vendors who come with a large trailer that's part of their business as a market vendor. And so First Street is the best location to put those folks so that it's adjacent to the plaza. Closing First Street is also doing a lot to help with pedestrian safety. People are parking in the First Street parking lot or behind City Hall or in the gravel lot for now, and having that closed is helping keep people safe while they're crossing the street and shopping in the street.
But doesn't stop some people from stopping at the farmer's market, driving down First Street, seeing what's going on?
There is ample signage that says event parking. There's 2 sets of barricades that shows people where to park and what's going on. So I can't speak to people who aren't passing it or not coming, but we're doing what we can. It's been a location change this year, so it's kind of getting everybody acclimated to the new location, but
Okay?
part of the reason the plaza was built was for a home for things like this. And we're getting close to doing a survey with the vendors at the end of the year about how's the move gone, do you like it here, do you have suggestions for next year, and I'm going to say there's definitely more traffic to those vendors with it being on the plaza than they've had in the chamber parking lot. But, there's the case to be made that people are driving by and seeing the market in the chamber parking lot. So, like I said, it's
Well,
new
maybe
and
it's
we're
an
getting
end-of-year
used
survey.
to. We would certainly like for them to remain on the plaza. We think it's a good place for them. So, and it's nice we can provide the community with
Ultimately,
concert, market,
give it
all
a
in one
year.
space.
Give it a year, we'll have a paved parking lot right there beside it, adjacent to the plaza, and we can possibly utilize the parking lot, the grassy area, and the plaza all as kind of one area. But right now, and this year it's just about over with, so
Right. We've been accommodating with the schools. They contacted us about a bus going through that they drop off kiddos along First Street. We've been able to make that accommodation. We wait for bus sticks to pull through, and then the market vendors pull out onto First Street so that we can make sure that we're good neighbors to the school on that. So.
It's just one of those, like we've talked many times, getting used to the plaza and logistics.
Something new.
I just like to see the concert and food vendors on that plaza, and maybe the farmer's market in one of those parking lots. But maybe that's not good for the farmer's market, I don't know.
And you would be losing parking, and so we knew we'd have to get situated on the new plaza with everything being new and everybody kind of settling in. So we'll hear the feedback from those vendors and see if a change needs to be made, if they are interested in a change, as well as with the farmers market committee.
Okay, good enough. I just thought I'd bring it up now since we had a few minutes.
okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board of Works is adjourned.